Welcome into episode 5 of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hut lineup decisions. This is the first post-worldwide launch Who Should You Choose, and my goodness, are the vibes different. So if you want your question answered on the next episode, make sure that you subscribe, notifications on to get your questions. I go through this year and I choose all of the questions that I see a lot of and that have the most likes. I start with that first. So if you are looking in the comment section of this video, make sure you hit a like on a question that you want answered, and I'll make sure to get to those first. That way I try and help as many people as possible as opposed to just going first to last. So let's get into it. Let's start with it. Let's see who we got here. All right. So, all right, my man Jordan. All right, we'll start with my man Jordan here. We're back, baby. Written before 2 p.m. RIP if it doesn't age well, or yay if it does. Edit did not age well. So, wild card for the early access. I actually enjoyed the limited amount of rewards. It made it so I don't have to just grind. When I was done, LOL, I just played just to play with my cards. That's something I haven't done in a while, and be satisfied putting down the controller. I also enjoyed the quick periods online as well because I'm not a great online player. I log on just to play and not get my ass handed to me. Look, I love me some squad battles as well, but this was a nice change. One of the things I've noticed the most is that I'm seeing online players. I told online players that if you are someone that is kind of scared of playing online, or you think that, hey, I'm going to get smoked, it's not going to be an enjoyable experience, you've only played squad battles, try out Rival or try out Wildcard, because everyone's team is very similar in terms of like their attribute range. You can obviously put some wildcard players in your lineup if you've got a lot of teams, but because of the salary cap and everything, and the response I got to that was a lot of people that play squad battles are like, yo, I'm actually enjoying online a little bit because I'm not getting smoked. So make sure you try that out. Wild card, play it a little bit if you were a fully offline player. All right, stories. I would still love some kind of journey for our cards to go on. We've spoken about the idea of a mini seasons for Hut, and I think that will help with not tossing away players as much for offline players. I understand online need the best cards available. Having a connection to our players, as cheesy as it is, gives a similar feeling to playing RPG games. The way you talk about Duchesne as a fantasy legend, or Kachuk is one of your favorite 99s of all time, Morenz is a speedy icon, and even Pedersen, who you constantly rag on for being too skinny and light. Imagine if in a mini season, Pedersen scored an OT winner to secure you the mini season cup. These are the stories we need. I would love like the Stanley Cup animation, even if you were online. Like if you got to division, like it's funny because like Rivals is just a very basic, versus of Hut. But something about online seasons, if you won, like online seasons would allow you to do like a playoffs and things like that. And if you were to win, you get a Stanley Cup, like you get a Conn Smythe and all of that. Like that would be kind of fun, I think. I actually do like the idea to expand upon that just for online players as well. Thanks for the hard work you do, man. You've entered into the Hall of Fame, my YouTube career. You've entered into the Hall of Fame for my YouTube career watching. 5 years watching, Lordy. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. You were there right in the beginning when I started my channel, so I do appreciate you as always, man. All right, new to guitar, another person that has always or has been on my channel for a long time. So shout out you, my man. Hey, Sleeves. Interestingly enough, I have played NHL 25 less than any previous NHL game in the past 5 years, but I've really enjoyed playing NHL 25 more than I have any of those other past years. I agree with you. The fact that you cannot level another player with a big hit all the time is a good thing. It has forced me to think about how to defend and also be aware of who I'm defending against and who I'm using as a defender. This means I either use the skill stick or the stick check, body check, or I just cover them and wait and watch to intercept the pass or allow an offensive teammate to get back and catch the opposing player from behind. There has been less interference by my own players in the offensive zone. It's not perfect, but it is miles ahead of what we had last year, and the AI in the offensive zone is great for my teammates getting open. I actually love where the game is at, and I hope that they do not change the gameplay too much, if at all. I think the gameplay should evolve organically as new cards are released as higher levels with higher attributes. Keep up the great work. Oh yeah, you are right. We choose to spend more money on packs. No one is focusing. We choose to spend more money on packs. No one is forcing us. I'm doing my best to do less of that. The fact that I do not have the urge to chase cards helps in that regard. 100% agree. Again, I think that gameplay has been the smoothest it's been. There's not as much clunkiness and goals that are going in that are like where your goalie throws it in the net. It's not perfect. D one timers are still a little overpowered, but I do really enjoy gameplay, and I think that's refreshing. First question: do you think Hut Champs rewards will be working? Second question: how will the qualifications work? Thanks a lot for your work, man. Hut Champs rewards appears to be the same as it was in past years. So, at least in the structure of how it works. So, you play your champs, and then on Wednesday mornings, you'll get your results, and they will get your rewards in your inbox and whatnot. Now, um, in terms of the qualification, I'm assuming that's the same. So if you're in lower division, it's going to take you longer to get qualified for Hut Champs, and so usually it's about Division 4. Like if you're in Division 4 and below, it's going to take you so many games to get qualified for Hut Champs, and that's pretty tough. Again, that might change. I don't know because we haven't seen that part. But in terms of the rewards themselves, I don't know if they're going to remain the same. If it's going to be the collectibles required. I have a feeling. Again, this is completely just me guessing, but because of how poorly received the rewards are, that Hut Champs is probably going to receive some pretty juiced rewards. And while that's important, it's going to go a long way. I don't think it's going to be nearly enough because there is a majority of players that cannot even play in Hut Champs, and they've until they find a way to fix rewards from a global standpoint and not just the top I would say 5 to 10,000 players that can even get into Hut Champs. It's still going to be a major issue. My plan is seven. Okay, so this is a question. I'm gonna have a video up later today. We broke down exactly what to do with all cards, and it'll be interesting. So, my plan. Pinball says my plan is 77 players into team builders, 76 plus overall, plus non-NHLers go into power icons, and 75 everything is going into X factors. I'm okay with the long game. Don't need to spend all my coins day one. Free rewards will be used for sets, even if the team builder is bad. Need those bulk to upgrade. Excited for Hut this year. So, in the current structure of content, this is going to this is what it used to be. So it was like, okay, these rewards would go to team builders like NHL players, and then the rest would go to whatever. The issue is because we get so few rewards that by doing it like this, I fear that it will be January and you probably won't have any of them. Like you won't have a hologram, you won't have a team builder, and you won't have an X Factor, which is absurd to say, but based on the season format, at least in the first 55 days or the first season of launch, you won't have any of them in 55 days. So if you're okay with that, in 8 weeks to not have one, then okay. That again, that's you. What I would recommend is 75 and above player items. I'm talking all the way up to 79. So 75 to 79 overall. Okay. What I would recommend at the current value of what cards are going for, you choose one. Whether it's X Factors or Power Up Icons, I would look over it and choose what cards you want. Like if there's a really nice Power Up Icon that you want, I would do that. But the chase for McDavid the McDavid card is so good that it's a holy grail chase. So, and it's a little bit easier to get because it's 75 and above. So I would recommend putting everything into one, not splitting it up. Like I feel like no money spent. That's the only way. Again, things will change as content changes, but that's what I would recommend. Again, if you're okay with the long game, I need you to understand that it is the long game. Like you do this method, you might be by March have a couple. So loving the gameplay. And again, my video on breaking all of that down is going to be up later today. There's a lot more. Like we break down what to do with bronze cards, all of that. I spent about 4 hours with my chat. The subathon's still going on. This is why I'm tired, and I apologize. But we broke down all of it, and I'm excited to put that out for you guys. Loving the gameplay so far as well. Always being better at puck movement and skating through a team, and I feel like I'm being rewarded for it. I feel like as soon as we get new strategy options, as has been the same thing for so long, I swear EA mentioned something about in-zone strategies, but maybe I'm wrong. Would love how to score, how to use certain strategies soon from you. They are always a beauty. So I appreciate that. I too love the gameplay. Yeah, one of the most noticeable things is how much your AI moves. Last year, something I found really frustrating was that once you were in the zone and set up, like I used the overload last year because tip shots were so effective. Um, your players just stood still, and then your opponent's AI just stood still, and there was no fight to get open, and it was like, okay, we're just kind of stuck here. This year, my goodness, man, your players, if you watch this at the blue line, obviously DDD one timers are very prevalent right now, but you could if you watch a replay of your game, watch how much the defenseman moves up and down to try and get open, or if you run behind the net, which in my opinion for players Division 2 and below like myself is what I would recommend. The amount of cycling behind the net that your guys will do, they just will not stand still, and I love it. The zone, something about zone strategies or whatever changing. They said they rebuilt the strategies from the ground up. That was something they said of the three that they've still used for 20 years: crash the net, behind the net, overload. But what it looks like is they massively increase the range of what your players will do in each of those strategies, but they still remain similar. So the strategies video will come out very shortly. I'm going to try and work on it today as well. Big YouTube day today. I think I've played about 70 games of Rivals, and I feel pretty confident in the strategies, and I've got tons of clips to kind of walk you through it. So looks like the cover athlete cards just made the market worse. All 79 plus players are going for 6,500 coins. I believe right now they're going for 8,000. Um, guys, uh, the card prices will not come down until EA releases a pack that is 75 overall player item and above, 15 of them or 20 of them or 10 of them even, for 500 points. There was one in the store during early access, and it was 2,500 points, and it was egregiously expensive for what you got. And we need a pack. It's so annoying because the only way for them to fix the market, the economy in Hut, is for them to release a pack so that people buy packs to fix the market. But it's like, I don't want people to spend money on the game right now. And it's like, but like, that's how you fix it. It's the only way that it is fixed. And there has been so many people that have come to my chat or my comments that still have their 4,600 points. And that just goes to show how insane the content has been so far, because I can't imagine you have 4,600 points right there, and you're playing a game. It's brand new. You see all the new hotness and the cards you want to go after, and the prices are so egregious, and the pack options are so bad that you don't even want to begin chasing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will tell you guys when there is a pack in the store that is worth buying, and I hate that because I'm saying, okay, go spend money. I don't want you to spend money, but I'm going to do it for the people that have points, and then people that don't have points are still going to open it, and there's nothing I can do about that. But that being said, that pack does not exist. I will tell you when it does, and hopefully it can help fix the market. The other thing is we won't see a drop until EA puts in. I said that the XP pass should be 250 tiers long. 250, which would mean that each tier takes less time to get. And every 10 tiers, we get a pack of just 75 and above player items. They could be untradeable, doesn't matter. 5 of them. That would be 250 75 and above player items that you would get by completing the whole XP path. And what that would do is basically allow you to create one Captain X Factor. That's enough cards to do it. Or, and again, depends on how many pulls you get. I'm not even like I'm not saying allow us to pull. The issue with it is so bad, or the issue with it is so frustrating, because it's it's not the 80 and above and the big cards being pulled that we need. We need the low cards being pulled, and that's what's frustrating. They should have an event where you collect event collectibles as usual, make master players, but when you make the master set player, you select from, say, McKinnon as a power forward, sniper, playmaker, enforcer, grinder build, and you only select one. That way we can have McKinnon or whoever with the build you want based on your team preferences. Man, like, this would be super cool. I'm not a big fan of the it's because I'm old, I'm sure, but I don't like the unrealistic stuff. So, like, a McKinnon Enforcer, I wouldn't be a fan of, but I would love it if they did. I'll give you an example of McDavid. All right, let's say McDavid had a master set player item. in it, it's like, the Art Ross version and then the Rocket Richard version. So one's a playmaker with points, one's a goal scorer with points, or maybe it's called eras. Something like an eras event. So you have Ovechkin when he's younger. He's a little bit faster, like the Gallery of Greats event last year where Ovechkin's rookie card came out. And you got an Ovechkin that was actually kind of quick, had a great shot, but his body checking was lower and his defensive awareness was non-existent. And then you could have Ovechkin in his later years where he's basically a tree stump, doesn't move, but he's got 99 shooting. And you could make your decision based on what one you want. That would be cool. You could highlight Crosby. Again, various things like Rocket Richard Crosby with a great shot, or maybe Conn Smythe Crosby, and it's like super defensive attributes. Like that would be a cool event, man. I would love that. I just wish the game would use chemistry for teams. Most of these guys have juniors, countries, and multiple teams they've been on, whether it's ECHL, AHL, NHL. It'd be nice for more cards to have value because they need to connect chemistries. It's frustrating because chemistries, if you go back, it ended up being hated because of how it worked in older HUT. Like back in like NHL 15, 16, it was like you had to get logo or team cards. Like if you wanted like you could get like make this player a Carolina Hurricane. And you could make all the players on that line a Carolina Hurricane, even if they weren't, but it would then give the chemistry for it. The show does this so well with captains when they released that in 23, I believe. And what's frustrating is that there isn't really captains in the MLB. It's not. It's more of a like figurehead position. It's something that, you know what I mean? Like it's not like they wear the C or anything like that. In hockey, captains and football, I guess as well. It's much more like, more important, I guess would be the word to say. And I would love it if there was a way though for your chemistry. Like I think that having at launch of the game, at launch of the game, every team should have a captain card, the real captain of that player. Let's say it's 85 overall, or maybe 84 even, not a lot. It doesn't need to be high. And then every tier of base card that you get, they go up in attributes. So let's say you have Logan Couture as a shark, right? If you have 6 sharks on your roster, they could be base, they could be alumni, they could be whatever, then you get +1 to every attribute. If you have 10 sharks on your roster, you get +2 to every attribute. If you have an entire roster, you get +4 to every attribute. You see what I'm saying here, right? Everyone would choose Edmonton, right? Obviously, but that would really be fun from a team building standpoint and theme team standpoint, and I would just love to see something like that. Taking a break is the key to having fun in online sports games. Brother, it is. Like I mentioned, man, it's the gaming industry is just engineered to keep you playing and give you fear of missing out and just prey on that. The amount of times I've caught myself playing a video game and I'm mad, mostly NHL and Rivals and Hut Champs, and I lose a game and I'm furious, and then I realize that, my God, dude, I'm playing a video game. If I'm this unhappy, I need to stop playing. But then you have this in your back of your mind. I gotta finish my games. I need to get my rewards. It's like the lack of rewards so far has really been it's been so bad that people are like, I don't need to grind because I don't even want the rewards. So that's where you're enjoying Rivals or whatever game mode you play. You play for a little while, maybe an hour or two, and then when you don't enjoy it, dip. And it's crazy because that's I can't see them going with that model for very long. Leslie says, anyone else tired of the superstar AI being super OP? Like there needs to be room for error, and they don't have it this year. Some of their weakest shots go in. They come near you, and the puck is off. Bumps are devastating. Sucks. I was really hoping this year would be good. Superstar AI should be hard. The reason, like something that I think is wrong or an issue in NHL is that superstar AI, if you are, I don't know how to generalize this, but when you figure out the AI, you can dominate them so easily to the point it's very boring. Like we've seen in squad battles over the last 4 years, you can basically get +5 and then just kind of sit there, right? But for a lot of the player base, it's very difficult. There's like a it's like a threshold, right? And in other games like MLB, when you're on Legend, it doesn't matter how good you are. Like it is hard. Every single player, it doesn't matter if you're a World Series player, which would be Division One, you are gonna have a heck of a time in it. What I would recommend is if you can't play on Superstar, just play on All Star. Find the difficulty that you can play on, and while you aren't getting the same amount of XP, you're not hating yourself. You know, you can still earn XP and earn all of the weekly XP by completing those objectives on a difficulty that you can enjoy. A lot of people have been asking about moments. They feel like you're getting ragdolled again, and that was in NHL 24, where it felt like even if you had Unstoppable Force on, in moments specifically, you would just get touched and you'd blow up. And a lot of the game changers reached out to the devs about it in the community, and it turned out there was something in the background, like a secondary tuner, that made the gameplay very arcadey. And they fixed it about halfway through the year. I reached out to someone because when I played Moments, it felt like that too. It felt like I'm like, man, I'm getting ragdolled a little bit, you know, even with my bigger players. And apparently, there's no issue. It's an attribute thing. It's that body checking stat matters so much more now, and balance and strength. And a lot of us are using smaller defensemen and the quicker players because speed is what kills online. And when you play offline, the CPU knows that it can knock you off. And I think that's a good thing. It's going to be frustrating early on because the way you build a team. So again, if you're frustrated with the gameplay and that, I would just go down a difficulty to the difficulty you enjoy and you actually enjoy. The rewards are not worth beating yourself up over. You can play at your own pace. Wildcard has potential, but it's going to get awfully repetitive playing the same style game over and over in an outdoor rink. Yep. I think that especially after worldwide launch and the second season of Wildcard, it's very evident that it is skill-based matchmaking, and that will kill the mode for a lot of the player base. I think that how Wildcard should work is first, let us use the good cards from the event. This is what killed Hut Rush, and I cannot stress why, like, how important this is. Wildcard should be a mode where we can use cards that we cannot get access to. Allow us to choose one of the rounds, whether one of the positions. Allow us to choose a power-up hologram. Allow us to use one of the holograms. If we're not going to ever be able to make them ourselves, let us at least try them out, right? The event that's out, give us multiple options from that event. We can pick what one we want. Do you want to use cover McCarr? Maybe you want to try out cover Lindros, cover Matthews, right? Allow us that. And then the rest of them, like the second and third line, use the event cards from that event to hype up that event, right? That needs to be in there. I've writ to the devs, like that needs to happen as well. I think that Wildcard is better than Hut Rush, and I'll explain why. Hut Rush was only fun for a majority of the player base because it had guaranteed instant rewards, which is what we now have globally across the entire mode, which is good. Again, the rewards are so lackluster, that's the issue. But we went into Hut Rush and we had to pass between the legs 17 times before scoring a goal. It's the exact same problem that we have with squad battles, where it's arbitrarily score 5 goals, sit behind the net, you're doing your chores. And a video game should not be, oh, I need to log on to do my chores. The reason why I enjoy Wildcard is because it promotes you trying to win, whether it's offline or online. And that should be the case. You're playing a sports game. You want to try and win. Now, you want to have fun while you're trying to win. It shouldn't be, the same thing over and over again. But that being said, like, the cards that we're allowed to select should be where the fun comes from. And because everyone is on the same page, it allows us to offline players that haven't spent money can just play Wildcard. And then lastly, for skill-based matchmaking, I understand you don't want Division 1 players loading up Wildcard and then you giving them a Division 6 guy, and it is a absolute massacre. So, how you fix this is make the matchmaking system in Wildcard exactly like Hut Champs. And for anyone that has not played Hut Champs, here's how it works. You play a couple games and you get a record or whatever, right? If you are 1-0 in Wildcard, you match up with other people that are 1-0 or +1 win over their losses. If you're 2-0, you match up against players that are 2-0 or +2 over their wins or losses. 3, 4, so on and so forth. That's exactly how Hut Champs works. So as you get further, it gets a little bit more difficult, right? And then if you lose a bunch, then again, the quality of your player goes down. Right now, man, you're just matching up with division, whatever division you're in. So every game is just an absolute gong show battle. And that can't happen, man. That cannot happen. Sleeves, great content. Seems like EA this year is focusing on slow growth and the average offline player. Okay, technically, yes. Folks that don't feel confident playing Rivals can play Squad Battle / Wildcard and still get Wildcard points and XP, or play Wildcard online where teams are comparable in ratings. This allows the vast gap in the player base ability to shrink. This also allows players that can casually play engaged throughout the year versus feeling they need to grind. Wow, reading sleeves. This is the year to make goals about your team and work towards it. Remember, it's a game, have fun. 100% agree. Again, the unified XP path is one of the best additions to the game. We need it to just be a reward path. That's it. As a proud squad battle grinder and timid Rivals player, I think Wildcard can be my new favorite mode. I'll be using it to build online confidence and try to get better at Rivals. I hope this encourages others to do the same as me. Then one day, I could be crushed by the knot of dollars. 100%. Like I said, if you're a squad battle player and you're scared to play online, I understand. This video game is tough. The hockey sports game, from a mechanic standpoint, is by far the hardest sports game when it comes to the mechanics and the controls, and it's very difficult to get used to it. Wildcard allows you to play that with no risk of losing anything. Lack of packs for solo battles and Rivals makes me concerned for no money spent. The old meta was getting set fodder twice a week, which gave us enough untradeable cards to get team builders, icons, and X Factors. Now completing sets feels underwhelming. We may have to rethink how we hut. 100% what's happening. The way that we play Hockey Ultimate Team is dead. It's over. The one positive out of the brutal reward system is that we have more coins than ever, and we're able to buy cards that we normally wouldn't, that we would have never thought about, because we always just chased the highest carrot. And we we are able to try new things, and I do enjoy this. So, for example, the example I used was, since X Factors, Power Up Icons, and Team Builders are literally just off the table for 85% of the community. Like, it's like legitimately just get them out of your mind, right? Because of that, when the Cover Athlete event dropped, right? In past years, we would see the Cover Athlete MSPs. We'd chase after 1, 2, maybe 3 of them, right? But the event cards we would ignore. So the 80 in this instance, the 82s and the 83s, we just ignored them entirely. This year, like, I'm using Pronger in my lineup. I love that Cover Pronger. I think he's sick. Sakic, one of the better cards in the game. Iserman, Giroux, like, they're all very usable because of the shrunken down overalls. And I think that's a positive, because it makes every card a lot more valuable. You're going to see it this week. It's a big test. This week with live moments, or I think they're called game breakers. I saw some of them pop up, as well as team of the week. When those cards come out, I can guarantee you this will be the first time that players will actually go, I might try and buy that card in the auction house and give it a shot, because I have infinite amount of coins in comparison, and I might try that. And like, that's refreshing, but it still doesn't fix the fact that the rewards are just absolute dog ass. Love the constant parallels to the show. I would love some sort of captain card that give the players that team boost. Would love a full Blackhawks team. Yeah, exactly. That was what I was referencing earlier. 100% agree. Sad that we asked for co-op / split screen hut when we used to have it. Good old EA, 1 step forward, 3 steps back. Co-op, like, if we could play co-op wildcard and everyone involved got to get the wildcard path done, God, that would make it, like, that's what would have saved Hut Rush. It's what it should have always been. But I would love that, dude. Okay, last one. Love these early Who Should You Choose episodes of more being a laid-back Q&A style in a mid to longish style vid. Keep up the good work. Thank you, man. Now for my comment. I echo your sentiment about wanting to have a card like McDavid supercharged to chase. Perhaps some will reflect on their current dislike for it and realize how good it is for the overall game. I'd also like to point out where I feel the improvement on the issue with icons and team builders being too expensive. I think they need to be mini chases rather than the ultimate chases like McDavid. If McDavid is the best card season long and takes 3 months to make, so be it. If icons and team builders are a month and a half grind and are upper tier players as they appear at launch, I think that also works. The issue I see is that in a month and a half to grind for a team builder, the 87 cards, excluding Jack Eichel, may be as good as the team builders, if not better, and that month and a half grind for a non-top tier player doesn't pay off. All in all, I'm so happy with gameplay. Yes. So I've said this about McDavid, um, that like about McDavid, 100% there needs to be a card that is just an insane chase. I do think that this is right now, given the current state of the market, 4.8 million coins in value to make McDavid. However, when you get him, if you have used base McDavid, you know what free gold wheels will be like. He almost feels too fast, and he's always going to get the most upgrades. He is the best card in the game, and he should cost a lot. 4.8 million is psychotic, but I think you might be able to get him in 3 months, maybe. Again, if you hyper focus on it. I like what you said about team builders and power up icons, though. I do love that because power up icons, they aren't guaranteed upgrades. Like, you're going to have to wait for EA to give a charity card. And we've seen players like in fact, X Factors last year. I mean, Jason Robertson went 2.5 months without an upgrade, right? So we're relying on EA to give upgrades to power up icons via events or whatever. Whereas McDavid and the X Factors, because they're current players, it's more predictable that they'll get quicker upgrades, or at least they'll be upgraded to the highest overall that they want out at that time. The team builders, man, it's a sad state because team builder cards are so sick, but the cost of them is like, even I love Dan Boyle as a shark, one of my favorite sharks. Like 500K for an 86 overall card at minimum is just that one will not upgrade. You need two to see an upgrade to whatever the next tier is, right? If it works the same. So I agree. They need to be mini chases. And right now they're much more long-term chases, and I agree that needs to change. Thank you guys for all the comments and the love so far. I apologize for the lack of YouTube videos about like content and strategies and all that. My subathon is still going on if you want to come and hang out. Twitch.tv/NoSleeves12. So I'm going to try and upload a bunch today. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next episode. Have a good one.